Let's kick this thing off. Video number one. This is intimidating for some reason. I don't know why. So I had this idea. It came to me last week. Been thinking about it all week at work. I'm 39. I just turned 39 last week, June 24th. And I made it up in my head that I'm going to be debt-free by my 40th birthday. So however many days that is until next year. 360, was it 5 days from now? So it's the 29th. My life has completely changed in the last 2 years. I've got notes. I got divorced, moved out of the house that we bought together, had no savings, had no retirement, had debt. For my entire life, I've been a record producer, musician, very active musician. I've owned businesses. I've done business consulting. I've built electronics, repair electronics. That's what I do right now is I repair electronics. And quite literally, I was starting over in a sense. In my apartment right now. But I've learned a lot in the last 2 years. Getting divorced has probably been one of the best things that ever happened to me. In a lot of ways, it woke me up from a lot of complacency that I didn't realize that I was just catering to in my life. I poured myself into my work, making tons of records, playing as much music as I possibly could, be it on the road or rehearsing, writing records. When I moved out and went back into a 9-to-5 job, things were just nuts. I couldn't sleep. That's where a lot of things started, was I was only able to get 3 or 4 hours of sleep a night, and then I'd be awake and I couldn't fall back asleep. So me pulling that thread has opened a lot of doors. The first thing that happened was putting myself back out there, meeting new people, trying to date. That was very eye-opening. I got myself into therapy. I used BetterHelp because that was advertised aggressively on social media. That was super helpful. I lucked out right out of the gate. I had a therapist that was incredible. Helped me learn a lot of stuff, recommended a lot of great books. And I've continued to read a ton in the last 2 years. I have not been much of a reader my whole life. I read like Harry Potter and Hatchet when I was a kid, I have lost about 50 pounds. I completely changed my diet. I cut out processed foods. I make almost all my own food. I learned about meditation, breath work, journaling. All of those things collectively have really put me on a path moving forward. So in the next year, I need to pay off $31,353.51. That is a combination of credit card debt, truck payment, and student loans, while maintaining regular life. I have 2 kids, which I have 50% of the time. My relationship with my ex-wife is great. We get along great. We're still outstanding friends, so that is not a stressor in my life, which is excellent. Another big thing that I don't have is I have no retirement, or I didn't up until a year ago. So I'm kind of like taking a lot of the things that I've learned over the last year and thinking that I'll kind of break things down in ways that might be helpful to anyone watching this. I had nothing. I had zero retirement. I had tried to start a Roth IRA back when I opened my restaurant in 2014. I ended up pulling the money out because I needed it. Most of my life I've been pretty bad with money. When we opened the restaurant, one of my partners in the business was very good at managing money, and I learned everything from him. And from that point, managing the business's finances. I literally, it was just like a kick in the ass, and off I went, learning, understanding, and I love it. Everything about diving into the way a business works, and also the fact that we had employees that we had to keep the lights on, employ to pay them. Things get very real when you're responsible for somebody else. That has helped me learn a lot. Now I'm in a position to where I am completely in control of my destiny. So if I make a bad decision, it's on me. If I don't have money, it's on me. I have complete control of my reality. So it is very humbling to see when the account gets low or it's not there, and I have a commute every day. It's an hour drive each way, and I have to be mindful of having money for gas. So where are we going from here? I figured I would kind of talk about how I've built my nut over the next year and how long. I got a website that I'm going to be putting together, some spreadsheets that I've made in Google Sheets, where I keep track of everything. The spreadsheet is where I go to stay on track. I look at all the money I owe. I even have a section of my spreadsheet where I calculate how much I'm going to be taking home on each check with how much overtime I work. Thankfully, the job I have, overtime is optional, and if it's offered, I try and capitalize on it to try and help change my situation. I also am keeping track of my 401k, my Roth IRA, which has money in it now, and I also have an investment account that I do just some money growing. I have been an Acorns user since 2016. I'm using it to its fullest right now. I have investment accounts for both of my kids that I started on their 8th birthdays, each of them. They're now 11 and 13. And little by little, I keep ramping it up as things get better. I have some personal goals of what I want to hit for my checking account, my savings accounts, and then I also have some mile markers that I want to hit with my 401 and my Roth, to try and position myself to where it's just like I can retire. Long-term goals for me, I want to buy property and build a house. I live near Lake Michigan. It's a stone's throw away from the lake where I'm at. I would love to be able to live on the water. So that is a huge chunk of my goal. So jump in every week. I'll probably do maybe a video a week is what I'm thinking, and teach some shit. Check out my website, Debt Free by 40, where I'm going to put some stuff on there. And maybe I'll put together an email. I don't know. This thing is new. I wanted to try it out, but you don't get anywhere unless you start. So I'm starting. Buckle up. Thanks for watching.